is the original system. It's a dual source CT. Rotation time is the same. It's because the detector is about 5.8 cm. It's going to give you the scan speed of 737 mm per second, same as your force, same scan speed. The power is also the same, 2 times 120. We have also introduced the Alpha Pro, which is also a dual source CT. But if you look at the number of detectors of 0.4, it's not 144, it's 96. So this is 4 centimeter. This is 2 times 6 centimeter, 2 times 4 centimeter. So the scan speed is a bit less. But if the scan speed is a bit less, the detector is a bit less, of course, it's also a little bit pocket. Because the detectors are very expensive. Yeah. The important thing between these two is that the intrinsic temporal resolution stays true at 66 milliseconds. What is also very, very important is the ultra high resolution, 0.2 nm, it remains at 120 times 0.2. So all you are missing here will be just this scan speed. Actually, it's not much. It's not much. Yeah. So if you're having some budget constraint, actually the Pro will be best. And we have sold a huge number already. This is in ASEAN. 20 units have been sold. We are also very happy to have the second system in Thailand, CCIT, our first public hospital. The installation is slightly delayed. Yeah. But multiple ones in Singapore. And then the Pro, which is the second model of the dual source CT, is also installed in, going to be installed in Indonesia. So, for example, in this public hospital, Bach Mai in Hanoi, they're having 2 near-term alpha. Yeah, so it's like myself. Yeah, all this comes in one PO, one order. So, not too badly since the introduction in September 20. Yeah? Of course, we have a single source photon counting CT as well. Yeah, so this is single source, the near-term alpha prime. Here you can see that even in the single source, you still have 0.2 nm, but the only difference is that it's not cardiac. It's a 6 cm detector in single source, so the speed is naturally lesser. But the problem with this is that there is no cardiac mode. So if you're not doing a lot of cardiac, you're doing neuro, body, this will be a very, very good scan. Yeah? So of course, if you're doing a lot of cardiac, I would advise a minimum of. Of course, the dual source CT is still very unique because if you want to scan irregular heart rates, this is 54 to 100 beats per minute. You want to get diagnostic image quality, minimum will be approved, right? So another case to show you, 105 to 107 beats per minute, or this 95 to 100. Or you want to do this kind of complex case, stroke case, but you want to cover the heart as well, so that you want to look for cardiac embolic lesion, then probably also a dual source CT, because this is the speed. Yeah. Now, the speed would actually also make a difference, is because this is the force. You know, the force when we do lung perfusion, we generally don't go on a very high pitch. The scan speed is not very high, because when you get very high scan speed, there's not enough projections. You get this kind of areas. Very difficult for you to make analysis. But with the dual source CT, because the spectral comes from the detector, you can run on a higher pitch. This is 2 times the speed, but yet you can get the image quality at least 3 or 4 times better. So here you could see this is the software that I've shown you. But what I wanted to show you is also another case. In dual energy with EID, sometimes if you look for intramural hematoma, so generally you will do a true non-contrast, yeah, because you want to look for the you can't really use the virtual non-contrast. The reason why is that You can do the scan in dual energy, but you cannot use the virtual non-contrast to rule out intramural hematoma. The reason why is that this you can see is hyperdensity. This can be misdiagnosed as intramural hematoma, but it's actually not. This is due to the pulsation artifact. So what is very special about the dual source CT is that you can run it at high pitch without ECG. It's able to freeze the pulsation artifact. But on dual energy of the EID, we cannot run at fast pitch or dual energy. Usually it's a pitch of 0.6. Yeah, so you cannot freeze this thing. Yeah. Of course, with photon counting, you don't have that problem. If you want to speed, the patient can hold breath. You don't have to do ECG. You can see no pulsation artifact. Yeah, you can run this whole thing in 3 seconds. You can even do this free breathing, no problem. No pulsation artifact. And you can see, okay, this is the CTA, the virtual non-contrast, right? The true non-contrast, you can look at the image quality. This is at high pitch spectral imaging of virtual non-contrast, and you can see that the image quality is no less than 3. So that would be the difference between the dual source versus the source. One very, very last important thing that I'd like to stress is very, very, very 0.2 nm is not to be taken for granted. Don't assume all photon counting CT will have 0.2. Every vendors will call them ultra high resolution, ultra high definition, right? But not every photon counting CT has 0.2. You just have to remember that Siemens has 0.2. But not every other vendor has 0. Very, very important. Yeah? Because people will come and sell you, I sell you an EID now, when I have a photon counting, I will swap it for free. They got such good deal. There's no such good deal. The photon counting is very expensive, right? So whether you get 0.2 mm or not, it depends on the material of the semiconductor. So Siemens uses cadmium telluride. Canon and Philips using cadmium zinc telluride, but those are prototypes. They don't have a system to sell to you. Another vendor uses dip silicon. So with dip silicon, you cannot get 0.2 mm. They will call it ultra high definition, but it's only 0.4 mm. So 0.4 mm, you cannot do those images that I've shown you. In fact, 99% of the cases that I've shown you were all 0.2 mm. Only that tanker's thing is 0.4. That's really low. Now, what is the difference? You see how the semiconductor is being constructed. With the cadmium telluride or cadmium zinc telluride, the thickness of the semiconductor is only 1.6 millimeter. 0.6 millimeter is very small, right? So we can actually build the detector this way. The X-ray will come down this way. Dip silicon cannot. The detector, that they have to put it this way. So the X-ray will come down this way. The thickness of this is going to be about 60 mm. The reason why is that the silicon has a very low atomic number of 14. The stopping power to be equivalent to the cadmium telluride, they need to be 60 mm versus cadmium zinc telluride, 1.6 mm. And because of this, not only the technical, I said what is the most important thing of low atomic, sorry, a bit of physics, but the most important of low atomic number is Compton scattering. You know the two X-ray interaction, very important. Got 3 lah. One got Rayleigh. Photoelectric, Compton, and Rayleigh, right? So if you look at the energy of CT, which is about 60 keV, you look at the Compton scattering of silicon is significantly higher compared to cadmium zinc telluride. And because of this Compton scattering, there is no way that the system is able to achieve 0.2. So even if they want to do it, the dose will be extremely high, which basically is just impossible because of the charge sharing. The other important thing is also the neutron alpha is using the same X-ray tube as the somaton force. It's the Vectron tube which we have developed. It's still the most powerful tube currently. So what is very important in the X-ray tube is the focal spot size. If your detector, you want to have high resolution, your focal spot size must be small. You look at the force or the vectron tube, the focal spot size, the large focal spot size of the vectron tube is about the size of the smallest focal spot size of the other diamond. So if you have a large focal spot size, you have 0.4 mm, you will not get those resolution up to 40 line per second. So I just wanted to bring to your attention that there is a difference in ultra high resolution. Just don't take it. Thank you very much for your attention. Are there any questions? Oh, also they tell you that 8 beans, huh? Oh, one more thing I'll tell you. They tell you that 8 beans. And you say, "Ayo, Siemens, how many beans you have?" Siemens got 4 beans. So 8 versus 4. Maybe 4 beans not so good. Oh, okay. Why they need 8 beans is because of Compton scattering. Right? Compton scattering has a lot of low radiation, scattered radiation, right? So they need the beans to clean it up. So that's why they need more beans. Right? There's no clinical proof that 8 beans are better than 4 beans. Actually, for current usage, 2 beans are more than enough. If we have more contrast coming in, things like bismuth, things like tungsten, then we need. But otherwise, currently just between calcium and iodine, 2 beans are more than enough. But the alpha is capable of 4 beans. But to develop a contrast media is not easy. So for example, if you want to do gadolinium, no problem, because you have 4 beans. So it's not a problem. So you can use gadolinium, iodine, and the other one is just first. I thank you very much for your attention. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask? You can ask in Thai, not a problem. You can type there and can translate for me. So I was like, okay, so I think for the body the highlights of this that is this is more that you okay. So I will say this: the highlights will be anything small that you want to see. It will be fantastic. Things like cerebral artery, abdominal artery, pancreas, any organs that is very small, it will benefit from this. Cardiac, neuro, all this is depending, will be between dual source or single source. Because let's say you take abdominal for instance, the benefit will be your standard, you get 0.4 mm at lower radiation dose. Why not with all the spectral information, right? And even you don't do cardiac, you can go into 0.2 if you want to do, let's say maybe patient have small bowel disease or small bowel, you want to look at very small arteries, post-cancer, all this actually it will help with smaller ones. It's just that we don't have much data on the clinical impact or changes in body scans. Chest, no doubt already. Chest is definitely show that high res definitely changes some clinical pathway for CPAP, for interstitial pneumonia, interstitial disease, all these have shown. Abdomen, there quite a lot on pancreas. I mean, if you ask me, if it's the aorta is so big, be it EID or be it photon counting, I don't think it will make a difference, to be honest, right? But then if you ask me if it's the middle cerebral artery, then it's a difference because the artery is very small, right? Mm. Ah, mm. Ah, good, good. That's why you need a photon counting CT. Mm. Okay. 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 For taste, it will help with the beam hardening. But if you want to say, I want to do a virtual subtraction to subtract out that material, you know. Yes, yes, yes. I can show, I don't have a taste case, but I have a neural coil case. Neural coils are also very difficult because they tend to be very, very dense. But of course, I understand that for taste, uh, your the region is larger. I think there is potential. There is no clinical, basically, there is no publication on that currently. So I also cannot tell you for sure it will work, right? But I think that it can reduce to a certain extent. But whether the extent is to your satisfaction or not, I think that yet to be. Stand case, wait, sir. So we have something like this also. This is this is a post clipping. Generally we get artifacts like this. So this is with the spectral imaging. And you can combine. Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing it. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sharing. I think it's quite shared because yeah. So this is with a lot of strict artifacts, which it can help to a certain extent. I'm not saying that it will work for 100%, but it will help. But we need basically more clinical findings to see whether it will help totally. How much the impact? That I cannot answer. You have to buy the scanner and try. Yeah. Mm.
So I know just watching your previous model, how much that price was increased. It's just, I just want to have a view about it. You know, once to ask to buy it, then you have to sell that. A lot of it, like that you can get on demand. Now, I think it's the actually make like a return of the money very
Fast. Yeah.
So I think.
Programming wrong ครับผมอร่อยจริง
single via
ใช่ครับเราจะเอาเป็นเวอร์ชันมาได้ครับได้ครับผมมันสามารถทำได้ทางปอด
ตัว
ภาพทีวีภาพฟิลิปส่งมาอะไรไป
ทำได้ทั้งหมดแต่จะมีนิดนึงครับว่าก็จะเป็นตัวสเปกเตอร์ของแต่ละยี่ห้อที่แตกต่างกันเพราะมันเทคโนโลยีมันต่างกันครับผมทำไม่ได้ก็ต้องใช่ครับผมหรือว่าถ้าเกิดการทำงานเป็น dual energy หรือ spectral CT ที่เป็น fast series switching อะไรเงี้ยมันจะเอามาสลับกันไม่ได้เพราะวัน based on ตรงนี้เราใช้ระบบเป็น STP ครับผมที่สามารถจะส่งแค่ไฟล์เดียวแต่สามารถเปิดบนสีปุ่มได้ที่สามารถเห็นเป็นตัวเป็น spectral CT ได้ในหลายๆรูปแบบมันจะเป็น virtual contrast หรือต่างๆครับผมโดยแค่ใช้แค่ซีรีส์เดียวก็ต้องแบบผมเพราะว่ามันเป็นตัวซีรีส์ที่ค่อนข้างที่แบบเป็นคอมแพคที่สามารถเปิดได้เดี๋ยวคุณเวลิตเขาตอนตัวนี้ให้ดูเลยครับ
share how
but the important thing you brought up a very valid question. Okay. We compare 1-to-1 EID versus photon counting. A photon counting data set is always 3 times more compared to EID scan. So if I store 3 nm EID, I store 3 nm photon counting, 3 nm photon counting data set average 3 times more. Right? So whatever this, your packs must have storage. You're not going to score the 0.2 nm on your packs. The IT people will come after you. Yeah, there is no way. So what we recommend is to do a temporary storage into a single via. The single via, the existing one, you can actually upgrade it to give you an ultra server. And ultra server is the largest server that you can find in the market now. Yeah, so we will have to upgrade that to an ultra server. All your thin slice will be stored under this file called SPP. This SPP file is very special because this SPP file has 50,000 images inside, all crammed into one file. On the file itself, you can say, I want to look at 3 nm, no problem. But if you're using a photon counting CT, you should not be looking at 3 nm. You also should not be looking at 2.2 nm, depending on what you're looking at. If you find something suspicious, look at 1 nm, something suspicious, you go to 0.2. So you must have the flexibility to change the slice thickness from slightly thicker to reduce the reading time to slightly thinner if you want to do troubleshooting. Fair enough? The photon counting CT also gives you spectral information. I don't like 40 keV. This case contrast maybe not so good. I like 60 keV. Maybe you say neuro, I don't like. I like 56 keV. No problem. In the SPP file, you're able to change the different slice thickness. If you reconstruct thin, you keep it in a single via, you open up, you will get this file. So basically, okay. So basically, this is on the fly. That means the minute you change it, it will show up immediately. So firstly, you can change the monoplus from 40 to 190 on the fly. You can double click or you can use the slider, doesn't matter. Okay, so if you see the contrast too bright, you can just go down, go higher. If you see the contrast not enough, you just go lower. If you suspect something, just go lower. That will improve the contrast to noise ratio. You can divide the screen into 4. And one side you want your mix because this is something you used to. One side you want your iron mat. One side you want your 40 kV. One side you want your BNC. 6, 4, not happy, you can put in 6 segments. Yeah, so your spectral information are all there. And this is where the reading comes in. Because it's quite impossible and it's also quite wasted if you don't make use of the spectral imaging. Yeah, so here the size thickness, this is 0.6, but you can change it. And so this is the workflows we do. Actually, this is already available on single viewer now. If you're doing spectral on false, this is already available. But this is even more important for because it's really quite impossible for all the kids now. So what Karolinska is doing, of course, Sweden is quite rich lah. So they keep the SPP file in text, not 0.2 mm. They do 1 mm SPP. So far for all the installations I've sold, we say we have sold about 20. We have already installed more than 15. So far all they're running without issues. And we are pretty happy, we are very happy with it. But the images does take a while to get used to. The image quality is
So relation or the mouse definition of the solution.
enhanced.
Yeah, enhance.
So it will be easier. Yeah, very good. I don't have a case, but I just have Dr. Sujana to send me her draft, which she actually included. I can show you the preview. Please come to the RCRT. You ask her directly. Yeah. No, please. Because I think she will be able to share this with you much better than I do. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's so I don't know what is she trying to say in this one. but you can see that this is EID. Wait, I saw a case that she. I don't know how small. Is this small enough? Small enough. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry, don't, but
Oh,
the room, that I brought.
I don't know if this is small. Do we have a case? Let me find a case. I don't think I have a case. Wait, Yes.
No, how you can help you do that. And the conventional.
Very good question. There is no standardization. Okay. So, yeah. So the problem with the virtual non-contrast is always when you want to diagnose Bosniak cyst, right? That you want to tell 10 house seal and above, you want to don't know cyst 1 or cyst 2 or cyst 3, right? Okay. So people started to use dual energy using the VNC. After that, they switched back to true non-contrast. Because the VNC in EID for visual is good. But when you do house seal measurement, it's not good. It's because, especially if the patient is big, you get a lot of scattered radiation. It will change your house seal unit. The deviation is very large. So it has been proven it's not accurate to say that this 10 house seal more and call it cyst type 1 or type 2. So that has been confirmed. Photon counting CT, they mentioned that it will be more accurate, but I could also see the deviation. I don't know what size of the patient, I cannot remember. So I think there's still need more clinical proof to see whether you can use the true, the virtual non-enhanced of the photon counting to do house seal measurement. What I've shown you is visual, not house seal measurement. So if you want to use house seal measurement to determine pathology between this and that, I think we are not there yet. I have to be very honest with you. Yeah. Yes, of course, with spectral imaging, you can do iodine measurement and all that, but there is always a cutoff if you read all the literatures. This cutoff, this is your specificity, this is your sensitivity. If you cut off at higher, the numbers come down. And I think that what is very, very important in EID is because the dual energy is less, it's solely dependent on patient size. Small size, you always have better, you have less variation. Once the patient size is big, the variation is huge. And I think that the photon counting, the variation will be less. How accurate it is, I cannot reply. There is not enough evidence. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so if you look at the it's 3.2, so the scan speed
3.2 the same ครับ
same. No source, right? Yeah. So so the scan speed of the force and the peak is the same. Maximum pitch of 3.2, but I rather use the scan speed because 3.2 can be misleading. Yeah. So it's 737 mm per second maximum. And the other thing is also you can run at half. You can use the flash mode also at ultra high resolution. It's possible. Whereas on the force, it's not possible. But that would be the difference.
ครับเป็นสเปกตรัลที่เหมือนที่ทำการสแกนครับผม
And the spectral also can go up to pitch, higher pitch. It's not that the force you cannot run at high pitch for dual energy, you can, but the image quality is compromised. So CAM and image quality are two different things. It can do, but you will not be happy with the image quality. No. So as long as you want to do cardiac, be it coronary, be it valves, you want to freeze cardiac motion, you must do ECG. Okay, but if you say type A dissection, no need. Yeah, but anything with the cardiac, you must. Coronary, you must. So in the room. Yeah, you don't have to put ECG. You can just run. You don't. You can do that on your force also. Not a problem. Run at full pitch, and don't even tell patient the whole breath. Just scan, finish. You can do that already on the flash or on the force. Turbo flash. Turbo flash whole aorta. Intracranial stents. I don't know whether there's one or not. I have to look for it. Okay, I look for it. Yeah.
ก็เป็น AI support โดสตัดเคมีแล้วก็ออโตเมติกรีคอนสตรักชั่นที่เป็นรีซอลมาเป็นแบบครับผมจะมีCOVครับแล้วก็ใช้เป็นเรทรีซอลมาได้ก็คือโยนภาพไปปุ๊บแล้วอ่านก็จะมีช่วยไปแล้วก็ไอ้พวกออโต้ซิมเมทรีอะไรต่างๆมันจะมีในส่วนของเวอร์ชันอยู่แล้วถ้าคนไข้ทรมากผมซิมเมทรีสองข้างไม่ต้องมาบิดเองแล้วคือตัวนี้เครื่องทำให้เลยไม่ต้องโยนไปไหนสแกนเสร็จปิดจบออโตเมติกหรือคอนสตรักชั่นทั้ง3 เองทั้งหมดเลยครับมันก็มี AI มาช่วยเยอะครับผมหลายๆอย่างเลยซิงโควิวก็มีอัปเกรดขึ้นมาเยอะครับผมในส่วนของซอฟต์แวร์ใช่ครับผมตรงนั้นด้วยแต่ถ้ายังไงเกิดดีเทลจริงๆถ้าเกิด ยังไงเดี๋ยวให้น้องเข้ามาคุยเรื่อง CPU กันครับไอ้ตัวโวลุ่มก็มีหลากหลายครับผมในใช้เป็นวัดอัตโนมัติโวลุ่มโวลูเมตริกต่างๆวันกันครับเดี๋ยวยังไงถ้าเกิดพี่มีความเข้าสงสัยเดี๋ยวเข้าเอาแอปเข้ามาด้วยครับผมก็ช่วยดูครับผม
Can we leave the MST or still have to?
ไม่เป็นไรเป็น
Okay, yeah.
ครับผมdevelopment plan for the product quality user
This is the future. This is the future. This is the because no seriously, because in Siemens foresee in 2024 all CTs will be photon counting CT. We do not know. It's a black box.
ที่จะเปลี่ยนจากตัว EAD เป็นตัว one cutting หมดเพราะว่าเทรนด์มันจะกลายเป็นว่า EAD จะหายไปแล้ว
You see, I just be very frank with you. Before the photon counting CT, we've been talking about flat panel detector CT. We have even talked about 3-source CT. We have even talked about the whole detector with the ring. There were actually the flat panel detector was the closest. Then the photon counting came. And even the photon counting took us 18 years, 18 for development. Yeah, so it isn't that easy to come up with a new concept. There are a lot of people will tell you that, oh, you see, this is already launched since 2021. If you look at the other vendors, they all talk about it. They all say we launched. We have photon counting CT, they launch. But can they deliver? No, because it's not that easy. It's really not that easy. Yeah, to coming up with the detector itself, it has to be 99.999% pure. The minute you have the impurity, We have to remove the whole thing and build again. So building the detector, the purity is no joke. It's no joke. I mean, if honestly we have not got the technology from Japan, so we got the material from this company in Japan. We acquired the company. We would never have been possible to produce this in 12 weeks delivery. Not possible. Not possible. So it's this factory in Okinawa that we bought them. And these guys, it's a very small company. They just perfected it. You have to give it to the Japanese. It's just amazing. So we try to do that in Germany. They come over to teach us, then we acquire, then we're able to do a mass production. If not, also not possible. So it's not the easy one. I mean, you know, sometimes people will post in the YouTube multi-phasic CT imaging. I don't know whether you've seen all this and that. I think it's nice to see sometimes all this novelty, but whether it become a commercial release product is another matter, because if it's too expensive, nobody will buy. If you don't produce enough, you cannot make it cheap. So yeah, so then the system has to be very stable. Yeah, so you see what we did here is that we already have the tube technology. The Vectron tube, we had it since the Force. Now we put it in the Alpha. In the Alpha, we only change the detector. So you already have a very stable source, then you change the detector. You try to change the tube and the detector, it's not that easy one. It may sound, you know, easy like that, but you know, we had how many prototypes? We have 6 prototypes before it even come, G7, before it even come on board. Yeah, I would say in 10, 15 years, I don't think there'll be a new system, because everyone is trying to catch up with the photon counting. But to get that material is not easy. To perfect the material is not easy. That is the biggest problem.
รักษาพวกนี้เป็นปัจจุบันแต่พวกนี้ใช้
I think if you want to make it very simple for the Peak, Pro, and Prime, the Prime is a single source, so the Prime is half of the Peak, right? It's just half of the Peak. Then it's easier to remember. See, this is it's just you divide the Peak into half. The other half is the Prime. Or Prime times 2 is a Peak. Yeah, it's dual source, right? The Pro is on its own. The Pro is 4 centimeter dual source. Yeah. So it's 6 centimeter dual source, 4 centimeter dual source. Then the Prime single source is half of Pro. That is easier to digest. So yeah, so yeah.
เพราะว่าต้องการความเร็ว
Sorry? If tube B breaks, you can use tube A. Tube A breaks, you cannot use. Yes. Because the B is still a bit smaller. The detector for the B is a bit small. Yeah, but this one is very different, because when you run spectral on the Force, your dual energy field of view is 35 centimeters. This one, if you run it at a lower pitch, I think it's pitch of 1.8, You can have a full view of spectrum. So there's no limitation. Yes, but no 0.22.
If I buy alpha 3,
in condition that one tube break, right? อ๋อถ้าเขาอยาก can do ครับ
Huh? Sorry, again? Again. Yeah, the alpha peak, you want to use 1.22 cardiac? And you want to do cardiac? Cannot.
ถ้า to hold the case เหมือนครับผม
ตอนนี้ดูว่า
Yes. Cardiac must be dual source. If not, it won't allow you to run. No.
เอา
And don't worry, the tube is very stable. A warehouse is in Singapore. Yeah. Yeah. Because there are only two big warehouses, Frankfurt and Singapore. Singapore to Thailand, 2.5 hours. Very fast.
คือถ้าเป็น ECC ใช่ครับมีเป็น warehouse อยู่สิงคโปร์
So we benefited because the hub is in Singapore.
อันนี้มี warehouse นะครับผมงั้นถ้างั้นจริงๆถ้าเกิดมีปัญหาจิตขออนุญาตโทรตัว ECG ไว้ก่อนเคสที่ใช้ ECG ครับต้องนับสแกนให้หมดครับนะครับมีหลอดเดียวนะครับเช่นกันนะครับ
And can do cardiac, but no 0.2 mm. Yeah,
จำนวนห
no.
นึ่ง
Yeah, can do. But no 0.2 mm. Can do, but must low heart rate, only 0.4.
เหมือนกับที่ใช้ซิงเกิลฟอร์
Can do. But if you do cardiac, I think a minimum you need is a pro.
คือเอาสอง
If you just do oncology work, neuro, all that, a single source more than.
ซึ่งถ้าจะเป็นคลินิคอลหรือว่าใช้เป็นดูพวกไปครับที่เป็นออซอที่เป็นตัวโปรตัวกลางก็โอเคนะครับเพราะว่าทำเป็นติดทุกอย่างไม่เหมือนกับตัวครับผมแตกต่างแค่เรื่องความเร็วนิดนึงเพราะว่าอย่างถ้าเกิดเป็นฟรีบีทสแกนโฮเบรกอะไรที่ไม่ต้องกั้นเด็กไฟอะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับผมตัวโปรก็ทำได้ครับผม
I'm already approved.
อะไรดี
เดี๋ยวอาจจะเอามีเลยต้องแบบมีประสบการณ์เลยเพราะว่ามันเปลี่ยนแปลงตั้งแต่เด็กผมในอนาคตในอนาคตใช่เราต้องรับ PR ได้รับโปรได้รับทุกอย่าง
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Let us know any information that you need, Tanya can discuss. Yeah. We also, yeah. Yeah.
We have the doctor from Singapore.
She already used it for 2 years. Yeah, so you can ask her directly.